Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you. Thank you for joining us. We're moving well into the fall time of the year. It's an exciting time as things move toward great holidays coming up, and we know that's happening here. That once the fair passes a while ago, now we move into really the fall time of the year, and lots of events still are occurring always, every week, every weekend, something's going on. But one of the events we'll talk about today is coming up in just a few days. November 11th, 11/11 at 11 o'clock is Veterans Day, the celebration here in Lancaster, and it's always great to talk about that. And one of my favorite Marines we have on with us right now, Doug Kemp. Doug, welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
Glad you're here. Doug is the unofficial official chairman this year.
Yes.
We normally have Mary Austin on, but Mary is fortunate enough. Mary, of course, was a career military herself, but now her son is in the Air Force and he's stationed in Germany, and she gets to go over there and visit him right now. So she's over there, and God bless her for that. That's a wonderful time to be over to see a son who's in the military. That's terrific. So now it's up to you now. It's on your shoulders. Big shoulders to fill right here, with Mary, and you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
You've done it before.
She's done a good job filling Fondo's shoes.
Yeah, it goes way back. We always mention that the Fondo Finley story, and Harry Rollins. These are the guys. We're on their shoulders here that kind of got this going, and in leaner times kept it going when it wasn't nearly as popular as it is now.
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, it's coming up on Friday the 11th, the 11/11 at 11 o'clock, right behind us across the street over by the Sherman Memorial. But that's the part that most people see. But actually, it kind of begins a few blocks away at 10:30.
Correct.
Where is that?
At Fairgrounds. All the veterans groups will line up with their floats, or some just have trucks. Any veteran that wants to participate can come in, and most of the organizations will find room for them.
Yeah.
Or they can walk if they're able, and we step off at 10:30.
And something I remember, Mary's pretty tough at this. She's a taskmaster, and she would also talk about that. This isn't the holiday parade that'll be coming up a week after this, or the 19th, close to this. We won't be handing out candy. We won't be passing out candy in the parade here. This is strictly for military and the veterans. So those are the people that you really want to show up and be in the parade.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you need to, if that is your thought process, that you want to be involved in that, and you still can, even up till that morning on the 11th, you can still get there, but you have to be there ready to go at 10:30, because that's when it starts.
Yes.
And now, and again, it's kind of the same route that the holiday parade does take. They step up there, and you come up, Broad Street?
Correct.
And the exciting thing right there is you get to pass the Old North School, what's now Mount Pleasant, and every year it's a pretty cool event. They let the kids out to see the parade going by, and that's important.
I just talked to them Monday, and they have, I want to say, 507 kids on the roster.
Oh my.
And they'll all be out there with their teachers, and of course the principal who makes that decision to let them out.
And that's important. I always think for young people to be able to see this, because we don't want this lost on the young people. I mean, they're the ones that for the next 20 years get involved in this and see it every year.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the schools have a program. I have a daughter at Thomas Ewing, and she's in the choir, and they've been practicing different songs for their
assembly.
Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they have that on Friday?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And then there's also, as I remember, meet out here again on 11 o'clock. It's right behind us over by the Sherman Memorial on that side of the street. And I always kind of see some kids come walking down because they've got their really cute little uniforms on from St. Mary's.
Correct, yes. They've been doing that for many years, and we're happy to have them.
Yeah, again, glad to see young people involved. And again, it is Veterans Day. That is coming up here shortly, a little week away. They line up at the fairgrounds somewhere around 10 o'clock. You get involved in that, and then the parade steps off from the fairgrounds down Broad Street, and it's really kind of a brief parade. It's because it's only really veterans organizations that have some floats, and again, you can ride if you can't walk.
Right.
They'll be there. And then the ceremony begins here at 11 o'clock across the street where the Veterans Memorial is. And always the same people involved, but they take time on a day off for a lot of them that come in and do it. Tony Salvatore will be doing the invocation. Mayor Dave Scheffler will present a whereas, a proclamation. It's good to have a mayor that's a veteran.
Yes.
That's nice because Dave is a veteran and he's able to do that. And then Tim Schaefer will be there. He always steps out at all the veterans organizations, and you're glad to see public support.
Yeah, his father was a veteran, so he knows all about it.
Yep. Tim Schaefer's dad?
Yes.
Well, I knew him. He was a pastor at a church here in town, Orrin Schaefer. That was his father. So a good guy, good family, but Tim always takes time to be here. And one of the things we always talk about, and there's nothing wrong with this, but so many people have this celebration like on a Monday, so they kind of make it like a 3-day holiday. Well, that's not how Mary works it. If November 11th is on a Friday, as it is this year, that's when the parade is. And if it's on a Sunday, which it will be in a couple years, that's when the parade will be. And the only difference there is you usually don't get the band because that's a Sunday. Yep. So and we want to talk about that. The band will be down here, the Lancaster High School Band of Gold, and they always make it, and they add so much to it. Yeah,
they're the only unit that's participating in the parade that isn't veteran oriented.
Yeah. So it's always good to have in. And one of the things they do here, how it's kind of handled, is all the veterans service organizations, really from Lancaster and Fairfield County, because they're there from Amanda, they're there from around, is they have a representative get up and talk a little bit about their organization. And these are good organizations that I imagine, and you're involved in a couple of them. I'm only in one, but I'm sure you're in more than one. But it's getting to be difficult to get people still in these groups, I bet.
Yes. People don't realize what the organizations do. They're the ones that are talking with Congress to make sure our benefits continue and keep up with, the times.
Needs, and again, they have lobbying groups, but this is a very important thing because we just don't want to forget the veterans. It's easy to have them slip through the cracks, and we hear a lot of horror stories. But you need these groups to keep people involved, to keep pushing on the Congress to help out the veterans. And then after the ceremony, it's kind of a brief ceremony. I think it only goes about a half an hour. There'll be, again, the ceremony all the veterans organizations will be introduced. They'll all have an opportunity to say a few words about their organization. And then there'll be a wreath laying ceremony, and it's somebody different, as I remember, every year.
Yep.
Right. This year it's AMVETS 1985.
Correct.
Yep. And there's always some good people here, we say, and I'm always glad to see the burial detail, which works way too hard anymore. Sometimes, I know you've been on it at different times. Are you on it now all the time? Okay. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 a day.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very difficult thing. The combined burial detail. It's guys like Doug and other veterans who take time to do that, and they go around at all that. And if you've ever had a family member that's needed that service, it's always important when they're there. You do a great job.
I'm one of the youngest.
Yeah, and that's an issue.
Yes, we have one gentleman that's mid-80s that
but
comes
still,
out there.
Still does it, still gets it done. Yeah, the burial detail does just a great job. And again, we'll have the Lancaster High School Band of Gold will be there. They'll have the national anthem. And then as part of the closing ceremony, the Band of Gold always has the buglers there, and it's kind of a little sequence of events. There'll be they'll play taps. There'll be a balloon release over here, Smith Funeral Home, and Sheridan Funeral Home, and I want to mention especially my friend at Smith Funeral Home, Nick Meyer, who's kind of headed this up for several years now. He kind of gets it going on, but it's he works for the Smith Funeral Home, but it's Smith's and Sheridan's this year that have a nice balloon launch right on the square right down there toward the end of the ceremony. It's just a brief ceremony, but I think meaningful.
Very meaningful.
I think meaningful. So it probably isn't too hard for you to get the same people every year to come. They realize.
Yes, it makes it nice when you know who you can count on, and most of them contact us before.
Make sure you include them. That's nice. So that's great. Doug Kemp is my guest. Doug is again the chairman this year, filling in for Mary Austin, who's away visiting her son, who's in the military at Germany. So I guess if you're going to miss the Veterans Day here, that's a good reason to go visit a member of a family.
Yeah, fellow veteran.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else you think we need to mention about this, Doug?
Well, speaking of Mary, she is commander over at VFW 1516, and they have donated flags to all the children at Mount Pleasant Elementary, and they'll have flags for the St. Mary's kids also.
Yeah, so when you pass by there, they're waving the flags. They have them right there, and then the St. Mary kids, when they come down, you'll have them for them too. That's, again, it's brief but a very meaningful ceremony. The whole thing doesn't take maximum. It'd be 45 minutes over here, or 35, 40 minutes over here. But you're glad you live in a community that still finds this important to do. And again, you mentioned Fondo Finley. For years, when they were much leaner times, say 20 years ago, Fondo kept it going.
Yeah,
he kept it going, and same with the Memorial Day service when it wasn't as uppermost in people's minds now. Since 9/11, I think everybody kind of thinks about this a little bit more. But thanks for what you do to keep this going, for filling in for Mary. I know it's something that you care about deeply, and as a Marine, Doug does a great job over there. So thank you, Doug. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Doug Kemp with the Veterans Day ceremony. And again, it's Friday the 11th at 11 o'clock. The service will be right here. They form at the fairgrounds at 10, march down here. Service is 11 o'clock on 11/11. And you mentioned that in France, they still call this Armistice Day?
Yes, they do.
I didn't know that. We did too at a time, but things have changed. It's become holiday and a lot of different things going on.
After Second World War in Korea, they wanted to include all the veterans, and they just changed it to Veterans Day.
Good. Doug Kemp with us about Veterans Day, 11 o'clock on 11/11. We thank Doug for being with us. We'll be back, and we'll change things up again just a moment on Fairfield Today.
I want a doctor who listens to me.
From primary care to specialty medicine, we put your needs first by treating you like a person, not a number. Our primary care team will help you identify your healthcare needs and set goals for success, regardless of where you are in your wellness journey. We care for patients of all ages, with offices that are close to you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Greetings from Fairfield DD. We are excited to share the joys of the fall season with you. As we move into cooler weather, we hope to see you at Football Friday nights and the county fair. As you enjoy the season of changing colors, we also want to remind you of the change we hope to see. We pursue a vibrant community where everyone leads a fulfilling life and everyone makes meaningful contributions. Don't forget to stop by our social purpose enterprise, Art and Clay on Main and Square 7 Coffee House, to paint a new piece for your table this season or enjoy a handcrafted fall beverage.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
Well, we kind of make a quick transition. We go from Veterans Day to the arts, and it's always fun to talk about the arts, especially with the guest we have here. We have the effervescent and bubbly and probably lots of adjectives I could use to describe him. He's up there a little bit. It's Victor Jones from Ohio University Lancaster. Victor, welcome.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
Well, it's always good to have you here because we know that when you're here sitting in that chair, we've got some things to talk about out at OU. And
we do.
We've got lots of things really to talk about coming up. But coming up really in just a couple of days it starts. What's the title of this, Victor?
Title of show.
He got that right. A lot of people think that's incorrect, right?
They do.
Think title of the show. Why don't you? Okay, is that like an Abbott and Costello bit, like who's on first?
It is kind of like that because it's in parentheses also in the advertisement.
Oh.
So it says title of show, and most people think that we forgot to put the title of show in, and then they'll say, "Well, what's title of show?" It's called title of show. No, and it goes back and forth.
So it is title of show.
Title of show.
And I guess the inside tongue-in-cheek thing here is it's kind of a show within a show.
Show within a show. It's about two guys writing a musical about two guys writing a musical.
That's hard to follow.
It is.
It is.
And what happens on stage while they're writing the musical becomes the musical.
Oh.
So they talk about opening the show at the Vineyard off Broadway, and the show actually opens at the Vineyard off Broadway. So if they
kind of on point here.
It is.
Yes.
So it's hard to explain, but I think I'm doing all right.
Well, it just sounds fascinating. Yeah, and again, it starts now. The first show that this will wear on will be on a Tuesday, and coming up in just a couple of days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, out at OUL. You got to be hard at it right now.
We are, and one of the unique things about the show is that they talk about how can you write a musical about four people sitting in chairs with just a piano. Mm-hmm. And that's what the show is about.
And they did it.
And they did it, and it's very creative, it's very fun, high energy, and it's a love letter to musical theater. All the references to all these different musicals on Broadway, songs that have been on Broadway, very tongue-in-cheek. You're going to get all these little puns all throughout the musical.
Now, I think we need to note that this musical has an especially good pianist that will be on the stage the entire time, and that would be this guy.
Let's hope so. I've been practicing.
I bet you've been practicing like mad.
Yes, practicing like mad.
Because now you got it. This is really piano work here.
Yes, it is, and the kids are counting on me.
And they're kind of grading you on this.
They are grading me.
You got to step up
because all of this was a student-driven musical. They wanted to do this
you
show.
said that the kids are really kind of behind this.
They are. They decided this is the show they wanted to do.
Okay.
I said okay, and now they're also working on the staging and blocking. And I'm kind of sitting back and let them lead the musical. A couple of the students are seniors, so this is part of their project.
Is that a little, you're used to directing, you're used to doing so much behind it. Is it a little more difficult to kind of watch your protégés take over?
It is, but it's also rewarding to see what they've learned for the past 4 years.
Probably amazing.
It is, and I kind of just sit back and that's...
Senior-driven, you say?
Senior-driven, and it's kind of good because I'm busy at the piano, learning all my notes, helping with direct the musical, the vocals and all that sort of thing. But of course, the feedback ultimately I'm giving, guiding them along the way, helping them to make the production they want it to be.
This sounds like just so much crazy fun.
It is crazy fun. It's non-stop, one-act musical, 90 minutes. They don't leave the stage.
Nor do you.
Nor do I.
Which may be a little more difficult for our pianist right here.
Yes, it is.
So tickets, if available, they can still get them online.
Online or at the door.
And the online address is?
www.ohio.edu/Lancaster.
And you can take care of it on there. Got a great website with all this information, Ohio University in general, of course, but the stuff about the musical, it's a wonderful play out there. 4 days, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday. And then we have big shows coming up after that even.
And we'll come back to the no title or title musical that has a title. But we're going to be talking in a couple weeks. I know Kathy Bittler got a hold of me, and we've talked before about this, about it's kind of a compilation of 3 groups coming together, and it's the first time.
It's the first time. It's an incredible project. We've had a meet and greet, 1 rehearsal, and then starting November 10th, we're off and running for 2.5 weeks every night.
Wow.
With the tech and all that. We have 34 cast members, 5 creative team members. It's Lancaster Playhouse, Garrett Players, Friends of the Library, and Ohio University Lancaster Theater putting on It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play.
This compilation of all these groups coming together just makes so much sense. I
It
mean,
does.
you all do great work individually, and the community is lucky to have this many groups that do high-level things to entertain the community. But now to come together, you've kind of got these creative juices coming from all over the place.
We do, and we also have 5 groups performing before the actual show.
Really?
We have Lancaster High School, the Saunders Hughes Family Singers. We have the Grammatones, which is
we love them.
the Grammatones, and there's
grandmas, they do great work.
And then there's one more group, and I can't. I should have started listing the names because I
yes.
forgot it. But
Okay.
we have a pre-show that starts a half hour before all the performances, and that'll be really getting.
And that's all
everyone in the
online
mood.
too. You can.
That's
still,
all online
yeah.
also.
And that's
yes.
coming up November or
December
December
1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
We have a matinee on Saturday, December 2nd. Tickets are $10 for everyone. We want it to be the thing
Yeah.
going on that weekend.
Yeah, we don't keep anybody out.
Nope, we don't want to keep anyone out, and so we've made it affordable for everyone to attend.
And now, and we can actually look ahead. Now that kind of wraps up 2022.
It does.
Kind of, and that'll be great ways to go out. We've got some great things ahead of us here. November, December coming up out at Ohio University, and we'll talk about this later again. But even into next year, you've got some plans.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, a wonderful family-friendly musical.
It's a Wonderful Life. You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
I know.
You're hitting all the big notes.
All the big notes, and so that's March 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Is that a musical?
It is a musical also.
You're not playing piano?
I don't know yet. Maybe,
We
maybe
may have
not.
a first
I don't
right
know
here.
for sure.
Yeah, we'll see, huh?
Let's see how this goes.
You've got some big things coming up here.
I do.
You're on fire out there at OU. The kids must be really into this.
They're into it, and it's been a joy for me to get back to my roots and play the piano, something I'm so passionate about. It's challenged me.
That was the beginning, right?
That was the beginning. That's what I started doing at Stanberry, Thomas Ewing, playing the piano for vocalists, for the choirs,
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. That kind of bridged the way into musical theater. So it's good to go all the way back around. And when I started at Ohio University Lancaster, the first things I started doing when there wasn't a lot of musical, there weren't pianists and all that out at the campus, I actually started playing the piano for our musical productions and then conducting it. Kind of stepped away and let other people come involved and collaborate. Now it's kind of good to be back in that area.
I doubt if you ever really step away. You just kind of go to another
A little bit.
position.
A little bit.
Because you're always around. Victor Jones, who does such a great job out of Ohio, and all in between all this, you're teaching classes.
I'm
and-
teaching classes here in Lancaster and Athens.
Wow. Other than that, not much going on.
I'm doing some home renovations.
Just the fun never ends for this guy, Victor Jones. So coming up this week, Thursday,
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Sunday at 2.
2, yes.
The title is,
Title of show.
and that's real.
A
Real.
a musical.
You're not pulling our leg.
No, not pulling your leg. A musical about 2 guys writing a musical about 2 guys.
It just sounds so tongue-in-cheek that it should be such great fun.
It is.
And you say the kids picked this out.
The kids picked it out.
Wow.
It's student-led and driven. It's the winner of the Best Book of the Musical back for Tony Award in 2004. So it's got some quite some
Good chops.
Yep,
and-
some
and-
good
and-
awards.
And there's 4 young people that
4
are
young
involved.
people
Seniors?
in it. 2 seniors. The rest are not.
Okay.
2 seniors.
Oh, and you're the pianist, and
I am.
you're the director, and
Set designer.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool things on the set. It's designed to be performed very informal, kind of feel like a Saturday Night Live Second City meets musical theater. So it has the feeling of improvisation, but it's not.
Because it's 90 minutes and there's no intermission.
No
so what
intermission.
you see is, if for 90 minutes, we're here.
We're here. We're here. If something goes wrong, we just keep moving on
Yeah,
through it.
yeah.
And it's simple. The set is simple. Kind of gives you a black box feel.
You know,
So
It just sounds great. It just sounds great. I mean, it just so on point. A show about making a show about making a show.
That's correct.
I mean, it gets me how people can even write things like this.
It's very clever, very, very, very smart.
Yeah, and it goes back to how far? When was it first?
It was written 2002, but it opened on Broadway at the Vineyard Theater in 2004.
So 20 years old, 18 years old, something like that.
And there's been some revisions to the
Yes,
script to make it
yes.
more contemporary, modern for what's going on now.
Have you been aware of this for a lot of years? That
I
this
have.
Is something you'd be
I've
cool
started.
to do?
I thought about doing it before, backed away. Started about doing it before. When it was originally written, landlines were really important, and there's a lot of phone calls in it.
Okay.
So now it's been changed.
Is it moved to cell phones?
It's moved to cell phone, but they
Gotta keep
still
up.
they still have a landline.
Okay.
And they have some stars voices who call in, and it's
Nice.
the original star voices that are
Nice.
used in the show.
It just sounds so unique, so interesting, student driven.
Yes.
Which is a great thing right there to allow these young people to really get a feel for this. Our pianist, we're glad to have him join us today too.
Yes.
Victor Jones. So again, that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This Thursday, Friday,
Yes.
Saturday, Sunday at 2.
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7. Tickets are available online.
Online, they're
and-
$14 for
Okay.
adults,
Okay.
$12 for students.
And then they can get them at the door.
They can get them at the door. They can get them online.
available.
They'll be available.
Okay.
Plenty of seats available.
Well, it's going to be a great thing. It just sounds like so much fun. And how about we make a date to have you back early in December?
Sounds good.
Probably. And we'll talk about the big compilation with you and the Lancaster Playhouse and the Garrett Players and the
Yeah.
Friends of the Library.
All that.
Sounds like a hoot.
It is a hoot.
And that is It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, December 1st through the 3rd.
And that's going to be great, but we'll talk about that then. So again, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, get out there to see at Ohio University. You can tell Victor's involved, and a lot of great young people involved in this. It should be just a great time. Good luck with all this.
Thank you so much.
Come back and join us.
I will.
All right, Victor Jones, Ohio University, Lancaster. We want to thank him for joining us, and thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.